All right, so are you ready to take a deep dive with us today?
Always.
Awesome. Well, today we're trying to help you figure out if you should add Too Late by Colleen Hoover
Okay.
to your TBR pile.
Yeah.
We've got a great review for you today
Oh,
from someone who has read 20 Colleen Hoover books.
wow.
I know.
That's dedication.
Yeah, serious dedication.
Yeah.
And then we've got a little bit of buzz from Goodreads, too.
Okay, cool.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Even the reviewer says this is not their favorite Hoover.
Interesting.
So is it still good?
Right.
Let's find out.
Let's find out. Yeah. Too Late is a bit tricky.
Okay.
The reviewer says it's good,
Okay.
but it's not the typical light and fluffy romance that I think a lot of Hoover fans
Right.
might be expecting.
Right. Yeah, she's very well known for that.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's making me even more curious now.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned content warnings.
Yeah.
So let's just get that out of the way first.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are we talking about?
So we are dealing with some pretty heavy topics.
Okay.
Drug trafficking, abusive relationships, and violence.
Got it.
So, yeah, if you're looking for a feel-good kind of
lighthearted beach read, this is not going to be it.
Yeah, definitely not beach read material.
Oh, no.
Okay, so for those who are okay with those darker themes,
Right.
What makes this book stand out from other Colleen Hoover novels?
Okay, so the reviewer really emphasizes how different this book is
Okay.
from some of her other more popular romance-focused novels.
Okay.
The story follows Sloane, who is a college student, and she is trapped in a relationship with a drug kingpin
Oh, wow.
named Asa.
Okay.
He is controlling, manipulative, and the reviewer actually says that he's a character that she wanted to strangle
Oh, my goodness.
because of how poorly he treats women.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
And you said this isn't even the reviewer's favorite Colleen Hoover book. So
Exactly.
that says something. It does.
So is there anything to balance out that darkness?
Yeah.
Like, is there a strong romance element?
There is a romantic subplot with a character named Carter.
Okay.
He's an undercover DEA agent who falls for Sloane.
Gotcha.
But the reviewer did feel like this romance was underdeveloped compared to the romance in some of her other books.
Okay.
And they actually compare Too Late to another Hoover novel, It Ends With Us. And they say that this one is even darker than that one.
Yeah.
And that the overall feeling of the book is quite depressing.
Okay, so we've got a controlling boyfriend who sounds terrifying.
Right.
We've got a romance that may not be super well fleshed out.
Yeah.
And an overall dark and depressing vibe.
Yes.
I'm like, is there any light in this story at all?
There are definitely moments of hope and connection, especially through Carter's character. But I think to the reviewer's point, the focus is really on the toxic situation that Sloane finds herself in.
That makes sense. So if I'm like a reader who loves Colleen Hoover's like heartwarming love stories, this one might not be for me.
That's a good takeaway. If you're looking for that signature Hoover romance, you might be disappointed. Okay. However, the reviewer does say that the ending is satisfying, given the subject matter. Okay. It seems like Hoover still delivers a well-crafted story, even if it ventures into darker territory.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what about Goodreads?
Yes.
Are readers echoing?
That's where things get interesting.
Okay.
On Goodreads, the book has a very high rating.
Okay.
Which suggests that it's resonating with a lot of readers, even if it's taking a different approach.
Okay.
Some reviewers absolutely love the darker, more mature tone. Okay. And they praise Hoover for tackling these tough issues. They find the story captivating and thought-provoking.
So it sounds like it's dividing readers a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Some are embracing the darkness and some are like, wait, I like that classic Hoover romance.
Exactly.
Is there anything in the writing itself that might explain that?
Yeah. So the reviewer, having read so many of her books, points out that Hoover's writing style is actually pretty consistent with her other work.
Good.
It's simple and easy to read, but still emotionally impactful.
Okay.
However, some Goodreads reviewers do find it a bit too simple.
Okay.
And maybe lacking the depth and detail they might expect from a story with such intense themes.
Yeah. Okay, so the writing style might be a factor in how people are frothing to it.
Yeah.
Some might appreciate that straightforward approach, and others might want a little bit more
more
complexity.
Yeah.
Sounds like Too Late is really pushing the boundaries of what we expect from a Colleen Hoover novel.
It's definitely shaken things up and challenging readers' expectations.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's fascinating because the reviewer says Colleen Hoover never writes a bad book.
Wow.
Even after 20 books.
That's saying something.
Right.
So what is it that keeps people coming back for more, even when she takes a darker turn, like in Too Late?
Well, I think from this review and the Goodreads comments, it seems like Hoover just has a talent for creating these characters that feel real, genuine, and relatable.
Okay.
Even when they're making choices that you're like, girl, why are you doing that?
Like with Sloane staying with Asa, you can kind of understand.
Right.
Like why she feels trapped.
Yeah.
Even if it's not.
Even though it seems irrational from the outside.
Exactly. I think as a reader, I always want to understand a character's motivations.
Right.
Even if I don't agree with them.
Of course.
I'm still a little bit stuck on her decision to stay.
Yeah.
Does the reviewer give any insights into her thought process?
Yeah, so the reviewer paints Asa as someone you would avoid in real life, someone with absolutely no respect for women.
Right.
And who has this disturbing obsession with Sloane.
Okay.
But they also highlight her desperation.
Okay.
So she's financially dependent on Asa.
Okay.
Because he's paying for her brother's care.
Gotcha.
And she just feels completely trapped.
Right. It's not just about escaping a bad relationship.
Exactly.
It's about protecting her brother, too.
It's about her family.
Yeah. That makes it so much more complex.
Right.
Now those choices make a lot more sense, even though
exactly. Yeah, it adds.
They're still dangerous.
Such a layer of complexity. It really makes you think about
the
impossible situations that people face.
Colleen Hoover doesn't shy away from that.
She does not.
At all.
No.
Which is interesting.
And remember those really graphic scenes that the reviewer mentioned the violence, the drug use.
Right.
It's not just for shock value.
Right.
It sounds like she's really trying to explore these difficult themes in a raw and honest way.
That's definitely a departure.
It is.
From the lighter tone of her other books.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the reviewer had any thoughts on why she chose this particular story to tell.
Well, the reviewer doesn't explicitly address Hoover's intentions, but it seems like she might be trying to showcase the impact of abuse and control, even when there's this potential for love and escape.
It's not always about a happy ending.
Right.
Sometimes it's about portraying that struggle and the messiness.
Exactly.
And the harsh reality of escaping that situation.
And I think that's what makes Too Late potentially so powerful. It's not a fairy tale romance.
Right.
It's a gritty exploration of how people find that resilience.
You know, it's interesting that the reviewer compares this book to It Ends With Us.
Right.
Another one of Hoover's novels that deals with...
That also has some difficult themes.
Domestic violence.
Right. And actually, they say that this one is even darker.
Really? I read that one.
Yeah.
And it stayed with me.
Yeah.
What makes this one even darker?
It sounds like the level of manipulation and control that Asa exerts over Sloane is even more extreme.
Right.
The reviewer calls him a character she wanted to strangle.
Right.
Someone who sees women as possession.
Oh, my goodness.
And enjoys their fear.
That's chilling.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a bad boyfriend.
Right.
We're talking about someone who embodies
toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Uses it to control and manipulate.
Exactly.
That's terrifying.
And they make it clear that even his backstory, his difficult childhood, doesn't excuse his behavior.
Right.
He's ultimately responsible for his choices.
And that's a really powerful message.
It is.
Because it's easy to try and rationalize.
Yeah, explain away.
Or explain away bad behavior.
Right.
But abusers are responsible for their actions.
Exactly.
It's
not the victim's fault.
The victim's fault.
Yeah.
It sounds like this book confronts that reality.
Yeah, it does.
Head on.
Head on.
It doesn't give us those easy answers.
No.
Forces us to really think about those tough questions.
Yeah, what would you do in that situation?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
But most of us hope we never have to face that.
Right. We read to escape.
Yeah, read to escape.
The darkness of the world.
So I'm curious, how does Too Late balance those dark themes with the romance and the hope that people usually expect.
Okay, well, the introduction of Carter, who is the undercover DE agent, does bring in that glimmer of hope and potential for a healthy, respectful relationship for Sloane.
Okay, so it's not like that.
Right.
Will they, won't they?
No, not really.
That leaves you.
The dangerous situation definitely adds some excitement.
Yeah.
But the romance itself feels underdeveloped.
Right.
Compared to other Hoover novels.
Given everything she's going through, it makes sense.
Right.
That the romance might take a backseat.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is more about survival.
Exactly.
Figuring out how to get out of a nightmare.
And I think that's what makes Too Late so thought-provoking. It really flips the script.
It sounds like a real departure.
It is.
From the typical Colleen Hoover
formula.
It's darker, it's grittier.
Right.
It explores a truly toxic relationship.
Yeah.
But even with all that,
right.
it still sounds like a gripping read.
It does. And I think it's important to acknowledge that even with that darkness, there's still a sense of hope woven throughout.
Yeah.
So it's a reminder that even in those worst situations, there's always something to hold on to, whether it's inner strength support from others or maybe an unexpected connection.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So for listeners who are ready for a roller coaster of emotions and a story that's really going to challenge their perceptions, Too Late might be the book for them.
It might be, but as you said earlier...
It is not for the faint of heart.
Not for the faint of heart.
No. You know, it's interesting. Even with all this talk about darkness and toxic relationships, Too Late still brings up conversations about love.
It does, yeah.
One Goodreads reviewer highlighted a quote from the book that says, "Love is not found. Love finds."
Oh, that's good.
Right. It's a good one.
Yeah.
And the reviewer kind of expanded on that idea. And said, love finds you in the forgiveness. At the tail end of a fight.
Yeah.
Love finds you in the empathy that you feel for someone else.
That's beautiful.
Love finds you in the embrace that follows tragedy.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful.
It is, especially considering how much darkness surrounds Sloane.
Right.
It really makes you think about how love can appear even in the most unexpected places.
It does.
And how sometimes it's not about actively searching, but about being open to those moments of connection.
Exactly.
But with all the mixed opinions about the romance, I'm wondering if the Goodreads reviewers felt like it was believable.
Yeah, so there are definitely mixed feelings about that. Some readers thought the insta-love was a bit too much.
Right.
Especially because Sloane and Carter don't have a lot of time together in the book.
When a relationship develops too quickly, it can feel forced or unearned.
Exactly. Yeah. But other reviewers completely bought into it. They pointed out how intense their situation is, how each character represents a safe haven for the other.
It's that classic idea of finding comfort and stability in someone who's completely different than the toxic people in your life.
Right. And even though Carter's an undercover agent with his own secrets, he sees something special in Sloane. He recognizes her strength and her resilience, even when she doubts herself.
So even though their relationship might be unconventional, it sounds like it's based on...
It is. It's based on genuine admiration and respect.
Okay, but as we said, the romance is not
the main
driving force of the story.
No.
It's more about Sloane's journey of self-discovery.
Exactly.
And her struggle to break free.
Yes. And that journey is packed with tension and suspense. The reviewer mentions how the tension really ramps up towards the ending. Which keeps readers...
So even with a heavy subject matter, it's still...
Absolutely.
Page-turner.
A page-turner, yeah. Hoover just knows how to weave together those emotions, these complex characters, and those suspenseful moments. To create something that's just... undeniably.
Yeah, you've convinced me I'm definitely adding this to my TBR.
Do it.
But I'm going in knowing that it's going to be a darker, more intense experience.
Be prepared
than a typical...
For the emotional roller coaster.
Colleen Hoover romance.
Yes.
For our listeners who are still deciding.
Yes.
Should they read it?
I will leave you with this question. If you were forced to choose... Between love and survival, what would you prioritize?
That is a tough one.
It is a question that Sloane wrestles with throughout the book, and it really forces us to think about our own values.
Right.
Yeah.
And what truly matters in life.
And Too Late really reminds us that life is rarely simple.
It's not.
Love is complicated.
It is.
And sometimes the bravest choice is to choose yourself.
Yes.
If you're intrigued by what we've discussed, we highly recommend checking out Too Late by Colleen Hoover.
Yes.
As we've said, it is a powerful and intense read, so be prepared.
Be prepared.
For that emotional roller coaster.
Yes.
And be sure to let us know what you think.
Yes.
We always love hearing your reactions.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading.